Primary ignition.
This is the way. This is the way. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to yet again another episode of Mando Talk. And as always, I am your host, Caleb Keller, but that doesn't matter this week or this edition because DJ Foster at Rebel Scum Texan is back, and I'm just going to give him the floor.
Hey.
What's been going on in your life, sir?
Oh, man, quite a bit. Major life situation change, but the best life situation change I could possibly think of. My newborn daughter was finally born this past Thursday. Her name is Timry, and so we're very excited that she is now present out of the womb, so to speak. One thing for sure is the one thing that like nobody prepares you for is like how wrong TV and movies are. Like nobody gets that right. I was like, you think I was trying to come up with a way to like format that for like a tweet, and like I wanted to use only Star Wars images to like show what birth is. Oh, I think I have it now. It's like if you think birth is like Padme at the end of episode 3,
Oh, goodness.
it's really more like Boba getting out of the Sarlacc pit. That's the best way. That's the best Star Wars way to put that. Like way Boba comes up out of that is what birth is like in the most Star Wars way I could think of. Because it's not pretty. It's difficult. It doesn't smell amazing. It's just parts of it that are just you don't think about until it's there, and it's nuts. But anyway, I'm so happy. Dad life is not bad. Nothing about it's bad. And there's parts of it that have been difficult, parts of it that have been easy. And I'm sure that everybody who is also a parent who watches or listens, they know that that's the case. So, but she's only like 5 days old. So we're still, learning a ton of stuff and don't know nearly enough at this point, but
Sure.
We are still learning and we'll get there. Get there. But I'm glad I got to have that week off to focus on that. Now I'm glad to hopefully continue to stay in the saddle here. At least this week. We'll see. We'll see what goes down.
I mean, we'll see, but hey, we completely understand. And I'm thrilled that you're here this evening, and I'm sure from myself, from our audience, a big congratulations toward you, your family, and we're glad that everyone's healthy, everyone's safe, and so continued good vibes and prayers and thoughts directed toward you. And listen, folks, I know some of you are on the podcast platform, but we've got a lot of live viewers in here with us. We got, let's see, Ryan V, RFB, Blue Harvest Bricks, Rafa, Michelle. And that's all I see for right now, but great audience that we got going on. It's always lovely to see from you, hear from you, and keep on bringing in the thoughts and comments, because tonight we are doing our Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett predictions, which again, by the way, podcast listeners, that is live exclusively on YouTube. So every Tuesday, or not every Tuesday, I guess we only got one more of these after tonight.
That's so sad.
Which is kind of
so
sad.
sad.
It's very sad. But one more of these for the finale next Tuesday. So if you haven't been able to check the predictions out live yet, I'm specifically talking to you podcast listeners. Try to be there next week as we do it one more time for the Book of Boba Fett. But as always, before we get to Chapter 6 predictions this evening, we've got to do a news report real quickly, and it's just one little thing, or not one little thing, one great thing that's out there on the interweb. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit it. That way we can get to the juicy stuff that is Chapter 6 predictions. And the Star Wars news report for you this week is straight and exclusively for television news, and it is the following. Bryce Dallas Howard is expected to direct an episode of The Mandalorian Season 3, and the source on this is Discussing Film. Now, this came literally the day of, or maybe the day after, last week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, which Bryce Dallas Howard directed. It was a phenomenal episode. People loved it. People were thrilled. And so when I saw this news, obviously, number one, I wasn't shocked because she is one of the few that have directed each and every single an episode of each and every single season so far of live action Star Wars television. And then number two, I was thrilled because everything that she has touched so far in live action television has been golden. So I'm very excited for this news. I hope it to be true. I fully believe it to be true. DJ, what were your thoughts when you heard about this?
No, I was floored. I mean, absolutely excited because Bryce Dallas Howard has proven herself to just be a fantastic filmmaker and a fantastic director. She's good at these homages. She's good at, really helping the audience see what her individual stories are about. I've heard from multiple different, people who've worked with her. She's an actor's director is what she's often referred to as. And I think that comes from, two things. She's the daughter of an actor and also the daughter of a director. Now herself, obviously being a director and an actor. So she's getting, generational type of experience from Ron Howard, her dad. I mean, he's worked with some of the best, everybody from Andy Griffith to John Candy, I mean, that's that guy's resume. And, on top of that, he did Solo, a Star Wars story. And, that's nice that it's kind of kept in the family, so to speak. And we've seen that with George Lucas's family. His daughter wrote several episodes of Clone Wars, and his son is a visual effects supervisor on the Book of Boba Fett, as we discovered during chapter 1, so, it's just nice to see that certain things like this are coming down a pipeline in a direction where Lucasfilm is like, okay, we have established kind of our family of directors. Let's keep it in the family. And the fact that, Bryce Dallas Howard is out here doing some of the best work in Star Wars to date is incredible. I like to think of her 3 episodes that she's done as her own trilogy. And in a way, yeah. And I thought so too, in between not getting sleep and in between, watching last week's episode. In fact, I got to watch last week's episode like an hour before labor really hit hard.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So that was that. So I'm like, okay, this is the greatest episode of Star Wars I've ever seen. It was truly, guys. I know Caleb, you shared some of my thoughts on Thursday's show, but real quickly, that was, oh my goodness, that was my heart. Just everything about it was just fantastic. So, but I like to think of her 3 episodes as its own trilogy. She had the one with where Gina Carano entered into the storyline with the ATST, which was incredible because she showed us some emotion through a mother and a daughter, which I thought was fantastic. And then also we get to season 2, and she did the episode with Bo-Katan. It was that, it was with Bo-Katan. And then now we get to this last week's episode, and we see there's this nice through line of storytelling notes where in the season 1 of Mando, she's trying to figure out whether or not Din should take off the helmet and just stay in the village with Grogu and just live there. But then the tracking fob goes off and he's like, nope, we got to move. And then you get to season 2 and he finds out there are other Mandalorians who don't wear a helmet. Thus another through line in his story of, oh my gosh, I've been lied to. Now we get to this one, goes back to his mom, so to speak. It says, I met this other lady who told me this. Is this true or not? And she doesn't really lie to him. She tells the truth, but in a really kind of sketchy way. So there's a nice through line with Bryce Dallas Howard's stories thus far in the Mandalorian side of things. And as it pertains to Book of Boba Fett too, because I'm sure whatever happens tomorrow, there's going to be something that happens in it that is going to relate to this last week's episode. So as far as Bryce Dallas Howard getting the chance to do her own to be into season 3 of Mandalorian, first of all, it makes all the sense in the world. Secondly, this woman needs a series or a movie or something because, oh my goodness, she's just too good at this job. Yeah, just way too good at it.
No, she's knocked out. Literally, the 3 episodes that she's done, in my opinion, have been great. And so there's been a lot of online push and discussion based off of this past episode of, look, Bryce Dallas Howard needs more. She needs a show. She needs a movie. She needs something. So real quickly, but before we get into our predictions, DJ, anything start tracking as far as what you would like to see her maybe take control of? I know for me, something that's out there, I can't remember who reported this, but I know that Bo-Katan series was a thing that was reported recently. We started this conversation before we went live, and we realized, you know what, let's hold off. Let's wait until we're in front of some people here. I feel like she understands that just Mandalorian culture, and that obviously this little feud that's brewing potentially between the Armorer and Bo-Katan, and I feel like if that Bo-Katan series is a thing, she would be the perfect producer, director, whatever for that series. That's where my headspace is at right now, but what are your thoughts on that, and maybe any other ideas for her?
I can't even think of something. I'm still of the opinion I don't necessarily need a Bo-Katan series.
Mm-hmm.
I think Katie Sackhoff is great. She's been great in every project I've ever seen her in. My favorite project I've seen her in is Longmire. She's great in Longmire, although the ending was very strange with Longmire. Those of you who've seen Longmire know what I'm talking about. That's not how I would have done that. But then again, they're the creators, not me. So what do I know? But at the same time, I love watching Katie Sackhoff work. And she's so fantastic at playing this part of Bo-Katan. And I think that Favreau, Filoni, Rodriguez, whoever, Kathleen Kennedy, everybody at Lucasfilm, they know what they have in a Bo-Katan character, and especially inside of Katie Sackhoff. So, excuse me. So, with that being said, I don't know if I want to see that series still, but if Bryce Dallas Howard is at the helm of a Bo-Katan series, give me the Bo-Katan series.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I can't even fathom what Bryce Dallas Howard could helm other than just keep directing these episodes, like she's been doing. I would love to see her do an Ahsoka episode, and if Boba Fett gets a second season, or whatever, or an Andor, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if they have her working.
Yeah.
But if she just stays with Star Wars, I'll be absolutely happy.
Yeah, no, and it sounds like we're going to keep getting more of her, so that's great. But, we'll see. She just seems to be crushing it, so why not go ahead and just sign her on for more, because like we've mentioned, fantastic stuff that we've gotten from her from these 3 episodes that she's directed in the Mando verse. Well, that's it as far as Star Wars news goes, because really this past week has been heavily online discussion, online craziness about Din Djarin returning last week, and we're now ready to get into our Chapter 6 predictions. So listen, this is now for you guys live exclusively. Get those predictions in the chat. We will pause and discuss them whenever we come to a good stopping point for us. Usually we do like a couple of ours, then we look to the chat and discuss some of yours, then we keep going, and we just keep going back and forward. So you are a part of this show just as much as us, so drop those predictions in there. And I believe we already had some great comments here in the chat that I kind of want to go back to as we start this prediction little train that we're going to start chugging on. Ryan V, one of the very first chat entries before the stream even got rolling, said, where Filoni is, there's either Ahsoka or Bo-Katan. I also think that the Armorer may be revealed to be a Mandalorian, loyal to Darth Maul and represented by the horns on her helmet. That has been something that's been going everywhere online too. What do you think about that, DJ?
I've been saying that since season 1 of Mando, because the second I saw her, I noticed those horns, and I thought, well, that's odd, because I think, Clone Wars season 7, I guess, hadn't come out yet, had it, up to that point?
I don't think so.
Or had it? Well, either way, I knew there was something weird about this character. Then by the time season 7 of Clone Wars did premiere, I'll backtrack my statement. When it did premiere, I noticed that the Mandalorians had the horns and all that good stuff. And I don't remember if the Mandalorians had horns on their helmets in the season 5 of Clone Wars. Now I'm thinking about it. I did just rewatch it recently, but I can't remember now. Regardless of that, the truth of the matter is, I think that there's a lot going on with the Armorer. I think she is actually a character that was introduced in season 7 of Clone Wars named Rook Kast.
I've seen that theory too, yeah.
I saw a TikTok video about it today, and I
Mm.
was like, I've been saying this for like 2 years. So I was happy that there was like some online validation for me because I hadn't
Sure.
seen that anywhere else before today. And that video only had like 5,000 likes on it. So I was thinking, okay, and then TikTok standards, that's not
Sure.
you know,
I
super-
mean, yeah, 5,000
yeah.
likes. That sounds great. Hey,
5,000
guys,
likes,
smash that
but
like
that-
button.
Speaking of likes, yes, get us to 5,000 likes before the end of this stream.
There you go.
But we can do it. You can help. But that's what is that, a Home Depot slogan or Lowe's or something? I don't know. But anyway, I think that's who she is. It makes sense because in the comic series, when the Mandalorians busted Maul out of prison, she was there, and then eventually exiled to Concordia is kind of the thought that happened. And she said we were on Concordia in this last episode.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot.
that's where I'm at on it.
There's a lot of different possibilities for that, and big thing there that Ryan V pointed out, and we'll definitely get to whenever we get to our predictions, is Filoni is rumored reportedly writing tomorrow's episode, so we'll see what that entails. XDO earlier also said, I was so wrong about them not telling us what Mando was doing. 100%, we were all wrong, I feel like, last week. We didn't expect the entire show to be about the Mandalorian last week, but hey, I'm fine with it. It looked great and performed great to me.
One other thing in the chat, though, is really interesting. We've got a new guy here in the chat who I don't think we've ever seen before, but General Kenobi. First of all, hello there. Secondly, this guy's in Poland. He's in Poland watching our show. You may be the furthest person east of us to watch this show. So, yes, mighty salute to you, sir. Or ma'am. I don't know. You're just General Kenobi. So salute to the general is where I'm going with. I just wanted to throw that in there because I personally like to keep track of where our people listen from. I don't know if you're into that at all, Caleb, but I know that we've had people down in, I think, Costa Rica and now in Poland. I know we've had some people in Canada a few times. And then, it's just kind of neat to say that, hey, we're kind of an international thing. So that's kind of fun.
International.
But I wanted to throw that in there real quick. And then I see Zach Horvath tagged.
Yes.
I'm guessing he's talking to you, Caleb, tagged you on Twitter or something. So we're going to have to discuss that, I think, here in just a few minutes, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm good to say it right now. I mean,
do it.
Go
ahead.
Star Wars just threw in, or on Twitter, I don't know where else it is, they posted a picture of, get prepared for tomorrow's episode of the Book of Boba Fett or something along those lines. And that picture that they attached to it is Din Djarin holding the cloth, the Beskar whatever that the armorer made for Grogu last week's episode. He's holding it, and that's the image they attached to that. I feel like with that image, and based off of last week, because last week on Tuesday they released audio clip of Din Djarin's theme, of the Mandalorian's theme, of saying check out tomorrow's episode, and then tonight they release an image of Grogu's cloth. I think Grogu's coming back, and I know that we're diving into predictions a little bit there, but I think that image right there is honestly almost confirmation that our precious baby is coming tomorrow. He's coming tomorrow, folks.
My precious baby showed up last week.
There you go.
No, I was not. I'll wait because we were going to go into some predictions here in just a minute anyway. Yeah. But, it looks like he's showing up, and we'll discuss on Thursday whether or not that's a good thing for this series. Well, I think that there's some folks out there, including myself, who are not 100% sure about his appearance. So, but I don't want to get into that until we get here Thursday, because it'd make more sense to talk about it on Thursday. I feel like.
Alrighty, well, listen, let's now officially get into our formal predictions, the ones that we prepared, the ones that we've got on our precious and beautiful images that we worked so hard for. Let's get into them, and again, as always, like I've already mentioned, keep bringing yours in the chat. We appreciate you doing that, and let us know what you think of this recent Grogu development. That's not the last time we'll be mentioning Grogu this evening. I know that for a fact. Since I have 6, which is one more than you, DJ, I'll go first. That way I don't have to end up going back to back there toward the end. So my first formal prediction here that I prepared, we get a checkup on Mayor Mok Shaiz. and his involvement with the Pikes. I feel like that at this point, obviously because of last week, not getting any information about that, we're going to have to get some major catching up as far as what's going on with the mayor, what's going on with the Pikes. So that is my first official prediction, because I feel like they need to justify and fully establish what is fully going on with the Pikes. That is crucial in this episode, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to have to piggyback off of that one, I think, and agree with you for so many reasons. I mean, I'll just narrow it down to just one for now, but it's clear that since we didn't get any Boba aside from title, theme, and recap last week, that we need to get something on Boba tomorrow. So it makes sense that we're going to visit somebody important. If it's not the mayor, it's going to be somebody else that's important, obviously, I feel like. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. And in the 85 percentile.
Let's go.
I don't want to, I'm going to be generous. Yeah, I'm going to be generous, but I don't want to go full 100% because you just don't know. This show has subverted my expectations many times.
I can't tell you, I can't stress this enough. Last week's episode made me feel like I was illegitimate to do a prediction stream anymore.
Yeah. Well, it showed us so much. It showed us that you can't expect, the expected.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They say to expect the unexpected, but that was not on my list at all, and I don't think it was definitely not on your list either. So
no, I mean, I thought he was I thought Din Djarin was showing up, but that's it. Like, I just thought he was coming to Tatooine.
But I didn't think we'd get like the most world building thing we'd gotten in forever. And I have I feel like it's the best theory on that. And I've shared that theory with Caleb. I don't know if I should share that now because has anything to do with our predictions. I mean, it's not going away until something's proven otherwise, I suppose.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and say it.
Say it.
The Armorer talks about the mythosaur and how it's just a thing of legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm of the belief that it's not that it's a necessarily a legend, but it's something that somebody embodies. Like you take on the persona of the mythosaur. And so I think that Din Djarin will become the mythosaur, so to speak. Like, I know he's got his clan tag with the Mudhorn on it, but I still think that he's going somewhere better and deeper into a more relevant role galactically speaking, and very much a rise from the ashes to the top, so to speak, start from the bottom, now we're here situation. And so, I think that he is the mythosaur, so to speak, and that the spiritual journey he's about to go on is going to be incredible. And I could go on and on about the spiritual aspect of it. I mean,
Sure.
Those of you who listen know I'm a pastor, so like I can tie that in all day. Now I won't do that here. If you want to DM me, we'll talk about it. I'd love to talk about that. But for now, I think that's a decent theory as to see what Din Djarin's going to be doing come end of this year. Heck, he could do it tomorrow.
Sure.
Like, watch this whole thing. It's not even Boba Fett, but whatever. All that to say, I like, what your first prediction is, Caleb, and I agree with you. I think that's very, very possible.
All right. Well, listen, I mean, again, just to reiterate it, say it one last time. My first prediction, and then we'll pass it to DJ for his first. We do, in fact, get a checkup on Mayor Mok Shaiz and his involvement with the Pikes. All right, DJ, what is your first prediction?
My first prediction I'm upset about because I wrote this at like 1:30 today. And then, of course, come 6 o'clock, we get some Star Wars being Star Wars over here. I originally said we will not see Grogu at all this week, but that's clearly out the window.
Trash.
But let me give you, yeah, absolutely. It's in the recycle bin, y'all. But let me say this though. I was of that opinion because it's not necessarily a return that I really thought was necessary for Boba's story. Like I didn't see, Pelimoto was in there last week, but let's be real. I mean, last week's episode was a Mandalorian episode. It wasn't a Book of Boba Fett episode. The most Book of Boba Fett thing about it was the fact that Fennec Shand was there. And even then she came from from Mandalorian. So, I mean, what are you going to do with that? But all that to say, I just didn't think it was necessary. And I didn't really want to see a whole lot more with Grogu until Mandalorian season 3. Personally, I would have preferred to wait, but there's a reason Pelimoto hollowed out that droid, compartment with that dome on top of that N1 starfighter.
So
and
all the grown
100
men across the world can cry. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to see Grogu sitting in that thing. I mean, he's going to be doing barrel rolls and everything else. And
yeah,
do y'all remember the game Star Fox?
No, I've never played that.
You never played Star Fox?
No.
Oh, Caleb. Star Fox is a classic N64 game, but there was a character on there. You click like the B button, and the ship you fly would go do a barrel roll.
Sure.
And the guy on there in the background go, do a barrel roll. And I'm waiting to see, Din Djarin do a barrel roll, and Grogu be like, ah! It's just gonna be, it's gonna be a thing of beauty.
It's gonna be great.
That's where I was on this. I am 100% backtracking on that now because that daggum tweet from Star Wars, which I will say this though about that tweet.
Mm-hmm.
We have often on this show and in the fandom said, I'm quoting several people. I wish Star Wars would just communicate. I wish Lucasfilm would just communicate.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're communicating.
Yeah,
I cannot be upset about that. So is it the communication I want? No, but it's what we got.
Fair enough.
So anyway, that's where we're at on that. Oh, I have a fair enough. I have a spicy fair enough.
Ooh, we'll have to.
I don't think today's not that day.
Yeah,
but
no,
I got a spicy fair enough.
There's a tease for whenever that segment does return, though, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So come back
let's
for
see.
That. All right, Caleb.
Michelle over in the chat says, "I think Din's going to find and ride a mythosaur at some point." I agree with that, Michelle.
Yeah.
100%. And then Rafa says the Book of Boba Fett was paused to stream the first episode of Mando 3. yeah, you're not
so great.
You're not wrong, Rafa. We're gonna hit
A+.
Mando season 3
A+.
just rolling. Like it's just gonna go straight into the action, which in my mind is always great because this episode or this past week's episode definitely set that up. Set that up
100%.
on a T. Okay, my second prediction: Boba Fett names and rides the Rancor. Only because that I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. I had a lot of people in the chat tell me, no, that's a thing that they're waiting for in the finale. I still don't know. And granted, I know that riding a Rancor would be super cool. I don't know if that's finale worthy. I kind of want to see that before the very end of it. That's just my opinion. I love me some Rancor. I love the idea of riding the Rancor. But come on, let's get it tomorrow. Let's see Din Djarin and Boba. Just maybe they're buddy on the Rancor together. Who knows? I mean, I'm down to see it. I'm down to see it.
No.
What do you think? What do you think, DJ?
They're definitely not double piggybacking the Rancor. Okay, that's
come on,
not what's happening.
Make it happen.
No, he just got the N1, man. He's above Rancors now. He's got a souped up hot rod of an N1 starfighter. Oh man, no. I had a thought and it's gone now. I don't even remember now what I was going to say because you got me thinking about piggybacking Rancors and granted it would be awesome, but there's no way they're double piggybacking Rancors.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I will say, the fact that people are saying they wanted that in the finale, you said you don't think that's finale worthy.
I don't.
Like, how is that not finale worthy? I mean,
out of a
that's
finale,
the most finale worthy.
Out of a finale, I want just story conclusion and epicness, not like.
Well, they're going to get that.
I feel like finale is action with Boba riding the Rancor. The episode before is Boba officially getting that connection with the Rancor to just ride it a little bit. And then the finale will be Boba and the Rancor going ham and just doing whatever, wrecking shop.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He'll ride the Rancor, but the finale is when he goes in and he's basically letting the Rancor eat whoever he wants the Rancor to eat.
Yeah, no, and
that's
I agree with
finale
that.
Worthy.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it was previously our friends in the chat were saying we're not going to see Boba even get on the Rancor at all until the finale. That's why.
I see.
That's my disagreement. But again, I mean, your point, chat, is just as good as mine. So that's just my thoughts, though. That's why I hope to see not only him writing it, but also the name drop, because I'm still going back to when Boba Fett said, "What are we going to name you?" Like all, and they emphasized him saying that. So I think we're just going to get both of those tomorrow. We'll see, though. We'll see.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm 100% on board with that. We have a new individual in the chat, Joseph Todd. Hello, Joseph.
Joseph was here last week. Joseph was here last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I got to be honest. I listened to about half the show, and
Dude, it's fine. You're a newly father. It's all good.
That was baby day. Let me tell you, that was the day. So I was not at all in the right sound mind. But anyway, glad you're back, Joseph. Hi, I'm DJ. Good to meet you. But he said, I think Boba went to confront the mayor, ends up in trouble, and Din and Grogu will come in and save the day. Ooh. Can you imagine? Dual barrel roll. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, man.
If that happens, I love that take. I think that's great. XDO isn't here. Think we'll see the Clone Wars or Rebels characters since it's Filoni's episode. Ooh,
possibly.
This is the episode I speculated Cad Bane to show up in.
Yes,
a lot
you
of
did.
People have.
Yeah.
And I still to a degree stand by that. I would love to see that happen. And I should have made that one of my predictions. Definitely didn't make that one of my predictions. I'm going to add that on as a prediction right here in this moment. All right, so there's that. And then what if he names the Rancor Omega by pure coincidence? First of all, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that won't happen. They can't. I mean, that'd be funny, yes, but they couldn't do that because they're already putting so much stock into developing that Omega character, and you never really want to do that. As far as whenever you've got a new character, you don't want to give that same character's name to a Rancor. I mean, again, I would enjoy the coincidence, but I don't expect that.
That's like Luke Skywalker naming his Tauntaun Ben. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Or Obi-Wan, like him naming it Obi-Wan, it just doesn't make any sense. So if you think of it that way, no. I think XDO is joking with us, but just to be on the safe side, I don't know about that. And then finally, right before we go into our next set of predictions, Ryan V says, I actually think we'll follow Din again. Last 10 minutes will be with Boba and Din. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get some more Boba.
I think we're putting Boba Fett back in the Book of Boba Fett this week. But hey, again, Ryan V, your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah. If they don't, they need to change the title and not for the whole series, but at least for this episode and the last episode.
Sure.
Which, oh my goodness, I got to listen to the first 4 episode soundtracks. They released chapters 1 through 4. Oh man, if you haven't listened to that music, it's stellar. It's just absolutely stellar. Okay, and Joseph, good to meet you too. He says, thank you very much. All right, XDO confirms he was joking. Yeah. Okay, we are caught up in the chat. So, is it cool if I go into my next one? Is that all?
Do it. We're ready for you.
Well, I don't think anybody really is because it's a big one. Ooh. I'm gonna go with that. We will not see Luke Skywalker in tomorrow's episode. Now, how that works out, I think I have an idea of how it works out. Okay. I've said this before. I think Luke being in the Mandalorian was a one-trick pony. I think that's a one and done situation. And I don't think it's a good idea to bring Luke this close into contact with Boba Fett. It just doesn't seem like a good call. So, and I don't think I need to explain that. He's the reason, Boba went into the Sarlacc, so that needs to be its own story, honestly. So I think anything more would hurt Luke's legacy in the coming stories for episodes 7 through 9. Now, where I do think Luke could show up is in Mandalorian season 3. And I said this on Twitter this past week. I think, or maybe it was Twitter, I can't remember now. I think it would be best if there's a buffer between episode or chapter 5 and 6 of Boba Fett. And that buffer is like Mandalorian season 3 chapter, whatever the first episode of that season is. So how many chapters are we into now? Would that be like 17, chapter 17?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's when I want to see him go meet Luke. That's the only time I think that would make sense because this is not the Mandalorian. This is Book of Boba Fett. Okay. So because this is Book of Boba Fett and not Mandalorian, hi, Tim. Good to see you in the chat. Because this is a Book of Boba Fett, it doesn't make sense that Luke should be here. So hold that for Mando season 3 and set that up so that Din just walks in with Grogu into Jabba's temple tomorrow morning. That way we could be like, well, hold up. How did he get Grogu back? Okay. Why does Grogu have a yellow lightsaber? Just speculating. Okay. Why does he also have the head of Mace Windu on a platter for Boba Fett? I don't know. We'll talk about that in Mando season 3. Okay. That's not an actual prediction, but still, I don't want to see that. And that's why Luke Skywalker is not showing up tomorrow.
Yeah, man. And I've kind of gone back and forward on this, honestly. Like, I don't want us to get to the point where Luke Skywalker is just showing up every opportunity. And I kind of see your point as far as if Luke gets incorporated into the Book of Boba Fett, I feel like that not contradicts, but creates maybe
tension?
Just a, what'd you say?
Story tension.
Yeah, there you go. Between Boba and Luke, I just feel like I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with that idea. But again, I'm not the creator, and rightfully so. I don't need to be. So
right.
I see what you're saying. My third prediction kind of segues into this because my third prediction is that at the beginning of the episode, I do believe that we're focused on Din Djarin visiting his quote-unquote little friend. But I still feel like there's a way to do that without showing Luke Skywalker. Because, again, I don't even think I want Luke to show up, or I don't need him to show up. Now, if he shows up tomorrow, I'll be thrilled, obviously, because it's Luke Skywalker.
Sure.
But if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say Luke Skywalker showing up is maybe 20%. For some reason, I just don't feel confident with it because I know obviously the budget for the Book of Boba Fett I've read was lower than the Mandalorian, and I know that requires a lot of work to get that deep fake or whatever it's called.
Absolutely.
To get Luke Skywalker back. So I mean, if Luke Skywalker shows up in this episode, I think it might just be his black robes from behind, or just a silhouette figure waving Grogu off as he's hopping on the N1 or something like that. That's my extent of if we see Luke tomorrow, that would be it. So I feel that is something that would have to be addressed, though, based on my third prediction of saying that the beginning of the episode, and when I say the beginning of the episode, I mean before the Book of Boba Fett title card pops up.
Yeah, that minute and a half. Yeah.
Right. It's just Din showing up, them having their little hug between him and Grogu, hopping on the N1 and back off to Tatooine. That's where my thoughts are as far as the beginning of the episode being Din Djarin visiting his quote-unquote little friend.
Yeah, and the only thing that would make sense for Luke to be there is the only evidence, I should say, is that the body double for Luke from the end of Mandalorian season 2 was an X-Wing pilot in last week's episode. Yeah. So, that's the only thing there. Now, as far as your prediction goes, Caleb, I like that. If that's all they did and we just kind of saw Luke's boot, or just R2-D2, I don't know. It's possible that R2D. I'm not saying I'm in dad mode. Okay. Those weird parachute strap things parents wear with their kid attached to them. The I'm talking about, that carrier or whatever. I have one of those. Now she's too little for me to use it, but I got it for when it's time. That's because I want to look like I'm parachuting at all times. But at the same time, I think it'd be really funny if R2D2 had something like that with just Grogu on it. And he just rolls up and he's like, here you go. And then just gives him Grogu. I think it'd be a nice touch. So I like that. I would be okay with seeing R2-D2. I don't want to see Luke. And I think it's wild that I'm saying that, it's just like you don't eat a filet mignon every time you go to the steakhouse.
Sure.
Every now and then you have to get the sirloin, so that, good
food analogy there. Attaboy.
Yeah, that filet mignon, it's got to be for a good moment. And I don't think tomorrow's the moment for that. So I agree with this a lot, though. I do like that you're saying beginning of the episode, first couple minutes, that's it. That's fine with me. I think that'd be fantastic.
All right, sweet. Okay, you ready for your third?
I am.
All right, let's do it.
All right, we will see Boba assemble the remainder of his team to fight the Pikes. I think that this is a very important thing, and we've already seen something similar to this happen in Mandalorian season 1. Din Djarin flies off to recruit Queel, and then as a result, IG-11, also Cara Dune, and they go in and they basically liberate Navarro. So I think there's something similar to that happening. And we did get a Pike name drop in the last week's episode of Book of Boba Fett. So, it's nice to know that Pelimoto's character is aware of what's going on with the Pikes, filling Mando in on that. And that's going to be a reason for Mando to want to get involved, I think, tomorrow. But because that's the reason for him to want to get involved, or maybe one of many reasons, there's going to be some more people coming into the fight. So the ones we know for sure that could, show up and be on the team, so to speak. Fennec, obviously. Boba, obviously. What's up? Oh, you're counting.
Oh, I'm just counting for you.
You're good. You're good. Chrysanthemum, is definitely on that team. Din Djarin at this point. I don't want to count Grogu because that doesn't make sense. He's just a tyke. So why? No, you just put the thumb down.
Okay.
But I will say the other option that is possible is the Rancor Wrangler. He's still around, and I think that Danny Trejo would very much like to be in more episodes rather than just one.
Sure.
So, and if he's not in this one, he might be in chapter 7, but I still think it's possible that he could be in this one. I mean, he showed up with a Rancor put to sleep with a giant axe in his hand.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's freaking bad to the bone. So like if he shows up with a vibro axe, a la the Gamorreans in the beginning of season 2, Mando. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm just speculating. I mean, that'd just be awesome. So that's my next prediction. We're gonna see that they get that team squared away and kind of have their own magnificent seven samurai situation going on.
Yeah.
Not saying it has to be 7 of them. It could just be the 4 or 5 of them. I have all the confidence in the world that these four people for sure can go in and do work. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I just got a mental image as far as what I might expect to see as far as that goes. I agree with you. I think he's definitely going to be assembling his team. I'm thinking maybe toward the end we get a moment where we flash to the villain and then we flash to the good guys here, our team formulating, and maybe they're just in Boba's palace around a table developing their plan, and it's just like the camera's circling around to every single one of these characters that's joined in on Boba's team, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we're ready, and then the end of the episode hits, and so that way next week we can go straight into Boba's team attacking the Pikes, straight into the action, and we can see a conclusion to this crime lord power struggle that's been going on all season.
Yes, and that would be the best way, I think, to end that episode. And Royal Farmboy makes a great point. Don't forget about the mods, the mod squad. I mean, I don't know if they're called the mod squad, but that's what I call them. The mod squad exists. Fennec is basically a part of the mod squad. I don't care what anybody says. That's what she's doing on the side. She's just a modder.
Sure.
Before next season, she's going to have a different eyeball. No, she's not. But at the same time, I think RFB makes a very good point there that we need to keep in mind those hired guns, those hired jazzy scooters, so to speak.
Yeah.
The Vespa gang.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe they'll get a nice little upgrade.
Maybe. XDO12 in the chat said, do you think Boba's team will be more original characters or pre-existing ones from comics and cartoons? I think it's just going to be the ones that we've seen introduced already. I don't think it's going to be comic or cartoon characters, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little too late to introduce anybody at this stage for story's sake. If it's like if you go through, well, okay, I don't like this example, but it's accurate. It's like going through the sequel trilogy and then Palpatine's suddenly the big bad villain. Okay, now that as much as I do actually enjoy that trilogy of movies, that one throws a wrench in the plans, so to speak. Now, so I think throwing in somebody last minute here is a bad call.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to make that. I don't think we're going to make that mistake again. I hate using that word, but
sure.
I don't think they'll go down that route.
No, I think that's certainly fair. Certainly fair. All right, let's go ahead and get to my fourth prediction, and I won't spend too much time on this one since I've kind of already alluded to it, and I think it's honestly kind of natural. Beginning of the episode, I said that Din and Grogu are going to visit each other and reconnect with each other. My fourth prediction is, in fact, that Din Djarin and Grogu do get to Boba's palace. They do get back to Tatooine, and then that way the story can just continue. I don't want to spend too much time on delaying that, so I'm thinking that this is definitely going to be occurring next episode, so I won't add anything to that unless, DJ, you have anything that you would like to add to Din and Grogu actually arriving.
Maybe Grogu eats a frog. That's probably because frogs have been around Jabba's palace.
True.
So, hey,
it's a good point.
Maybe Boba's just got flags ready. Flags. Frogs. Why did I just say flags? I have no idea why I said that. Maybe he's just got frogs hanging out ready for Grogu, just in case. That's the only thing I can add to that.
All right.
That's just really speculative.
Fair enough.
And I won't spend a whole lot of time on my fourth prediction because we've already alluded to it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that's Boba has to ride the Rancor in this episode. Okay. He has to show up and he has to ride this beast. And as far as we know, the Rancor Wrangler is still around. There's not really any reason to think that Danny Trejo's character hasn't left, the palace. He's very easily could still be there. And I am not totally, uncertain that he doesn't want a piece of the action. I think he wants to get in there and do some work. I think he wants to go in there guns a-blazing or axes waving, whatever he ends up doing. I mean, guns a-blazing and axes waving. Ooh, somebody write that down. That's going to be the next great rock song right there. But still, I think that is something to be very aware of in this one. I think that's definitely going to happen. So Boba has to ride the Rancor, and that's prediction number 4. Is there anything you want to add to that, Caleb, that we haven't already really added to?
Nope. I think that matches perfectly with my second one. I definitely think that he gets on that Rancor, and we see that connection between the two. That way, maybe in the finale, we get to chop some heads off as far as that Rancor biting and killing some people. But that does kind of transition to my fifth, and this is something I said last week, but it's still something that I want to see. The mayor's major domo meets his end. I feel like once they get all the information out of him, there's nothing left to do. Because Fennec said that he was talking like crazy. He was sharing everything that she needed to know. So at what point do you need him anymore? And obviously, whenever that plot line usually happens, they get killed off once they've shared everything that one party needs to know. So that I feel like that might be the first individual that the Rancor destroys. That because we haven't seen the Rancor feast yet, we've gotten it teased. So I think it'd be pretty cool for it to be the mayor's major domo, and I've loved that character, and I've loved that character so much. It's weird saying this, but that would be the perfect ending for that character because it would fit perfectly with how I've felt about that character throughout the entire show.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be a great ending, but I could think of a secondary great ending with his character. He's been singing so much and telling them everything they need to know. Maybe he's just like, all right, Boba's like, all right, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. And he starts working for him, so that it's possible.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm not saying it's likely, but it's definitely another option.
No, and
it'd be something interesting.
I mean, I see the option just as much as my option. I just don't know if I would like that option as much.
Your option's way better. I'll give you that because I would love to see a Rancor go hit up the snack bar, and if the major domo is on the snack bar list, then hey, even better. Yeah, so I like that, but I want to go back for a second because Charles Smith here jumps in to the chat and he says, please, in all caps, don't let him show up with the Power Ranger scooter gang. Listen, it's canon now, baby. You can't change canon.
Hey, I like some Power Rangers.
I don't. But I do like these guys. I didn't grow up with. I mean, Power Rangers weren't really a part. It just seemed a little too cheesy for me. Sure. It wasn't my thing. I was too into Star Wars and Space Jam to care about Power Rangers. So
well, I mean,
we should do a Geekverse Reactions episode to Space Jam, the good one.
Hey,
that would be a fun episode.
That would be cool.
That'd be fun.
But I mean, I loved Power Rangers, but I have to say, I don't like the mod group. So
well, I definitely don't like the mod group, but I love what XDO said to that counterpoint though. He said he hopes Sabine Wren from Rebels doesn't ever meet the biker gang because Tatooine can't handle that much color. That's
Fair.
a good point, man.
Fair point.
They are very bright, super bright. Like it's, I finished watching Rebels last night to keep my daughter awake for a little while. So just doing one of these, kind of doing those light bounces and feeding her a little bit. And then, I'm like, I'm finished Rebels. And Sabine is just the most colorful of any character ever in Star Wars, second only to the Mod Squad. So yeah. But anyway, that's a good call. I like the conversation we're having there on that side of things. So I think that we're good on the Rancor stuff, and then also on the Major Domo, being eaten by the Rancor, because I love that we're in this vein of this. Look, we are predicting a Rancor heavy episode.
Yeah,
that's
we
what
are.
this comes down to.
Yeah, we kind of are. Yeah,
and I only share my predictions with Caleb so he can put them on the stream for you guys to see. So I don't know I doubt he copies off of me at all. He's a math teacher. He knows better. But with that being said, it's nice to see that you and I, Caleb, are very much looking forward to seeing Rancor snacks, and Michelle Minozzi's feeling the same way. Look, Rancor, I still got to think of a good catchy name like Scooby Snacks, Rancor nachos. I don't know, just something, it'd be great. It'd be absolutely great. But anyway, I could talk about Rancors for a while, actually. Should we just end the stream and have a Rancor conversation, just me and you, or just keep talking about Rancors?
No, we got some more to get to.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Hey, what I do want to say what's up to Brock85. Glad that you were able to make it.
What up, Brock?
Kieran Jones, that's a new name. Appreciate you being here. Said, how long until the new episode comes out? Midnight? Depends on where you're at. If you're Pacific time, then yeah,
midnight,
it is
California.
midnight. Yeah. But for me, it's 2 a.m. And like I say every week when someone asks that question, I wish I could stay up that late, but I just can't physically do it. Can't do it.
I can, because I have to.
There you go.
I have to now.
So you might be seeing
the first time. Yeah, this may be the first time I ever wake up at 2 a.m. intentionally to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
Usually that one thing is I got to go to the bathroom. Tomorrow it's going to be feed the baby and watch Book of Boba Fett.
And watch the Rancor feed itself in the Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh,
how about that?
I'm gonna feed my child, and Boba's gonna feed his child.
Ooh,
that's what's up.
There we go.
and Din Djarin may feed his child.
Yeah, Din Djarin shows up to Luke's academy with some macaroons and says, "Here, bud, I've missed you."
And a frog, just frog legs and cookies. Oh gosh.
Oh
That's
gosh.
great. I love
There's
that.
our weekly Mando Talk deep dive into something funny, goofy that could honestly happen. It could happen.
It totally could.
All right,
Oh, my
DJ,
goodness.
what is your fifth prediction?
It's not anywhere as good as the conversation we just had. No, it's a simple prediction.
Sure.
This chapter is going to end in a massive cliffhanger. Okay, like it just is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way this is going to be a big fat cliffhanger.
Sure.
It has to be. There's too much that's happened in this series to lead just into something that resolves itself. Last week we got a great resolve with Mando. It was, and by resolve I mean obviously the story's not resolved, but what I mean is we got to see Mando show up. He did his thing with the ship, flew it around, narrowly avoided getting arrested for a second time, and then maybe Carson Teva is the other. Never mind, that's the other thing. And then now he's run off with Fennec to go to Boba's palace. So that's a nice conclusion to that story, so to speak, because it takes you to the next thing. So with that being the case, I think whatever happens tomorrow, something's going to hit the fan, or we're going to get a big reveal, or who knows. So that's what I expect tomorrow, is a big old fat cliffhanger, very similar to Mandalorian season 1, chapter 7, where we got the reveal of Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
And then gone in episode or chapter 8.
Sure. And I'll just, to add to that, I feel like that's a pretty safe bet right there. I think that as far as just a show structure goes, the penultimate episode, the one before the finale, you've got to have a massive cliffhanger to make sure everybody's itching to see that finale. So I think that that's a pretty safe bet. Safe bet right there. Safe bet right there. And well, I'll finish this off with my 6th prediction. Here's the massive cliffhanger. I've been waiting on this moment all series. Kira appears at the end of this episode. It happens. There's your massive cliffhanger. I know. This is, again, kind of like I mentioned last week during the predictions for Chapter 5. We're getting to the moment that this thing that I've been talking about all show, if it's going to happen, it's got to happen tomorrow. So I'm almost like forced to say this, but I still think it's possible because I shared it last week. You cannot convince me that the Pikes are the main bad in this. Like, even if at the end of this season it's revealed that the Pikes were the only villain, I'm going to have to say I'll be a little disappointed because I've never been intimidated, threatened, or feel afraid of the Pikes. They just don't do enough for me because we always know that someone else is pulling the strings with them. So the Pikes just ain't it for me. And I know I've been saying this all season, so the one that's been doing it all along is Kira. And I mentioned earlier where at the very end of this show, it's going to be, or the end of this episode tomorrow, it's going to be the camera circling around the heroes around a table. And then it's going to flash to the villains, and it's going to be the Pikes with a hologram of Kira popping up saying, this is what you need to do next, basically. That's kind of my grand reveal. And to connect to your 5th prediction, that's our massive cliffhanger that Kira is the one that's behind the scenes. Crimson Dawn has been involved in this. Those are my thoughts. Chat, you let me know. Are we actually going to get Kira, or is this just a spice dream of mine to see her pop up in the Book of Boba Fett? Thoughts, DJ?
All right. I prepared for this because I knew this was going to be one of your predictions. I have a couple of bullet points.
Oh, wow.
Notes.
You were that prepared.
I am. I'll send it to you later. I'll put it on Twitter. I don't care. You can.
That's funny. Yeah.
Here's the thing. And this is because it's Chapter 6. Okay. Because it's Chapter 6. And this is not a prediction. It's just a theory I've been working with. But initially, I wanted to see a younger Boba Fett played by Daniel Logan face off against Cad Bane in a flashback. And I wanted it in this episode because it's supposed to be the Dave Filoni written episode. But at this point, based on last week's episode, don't think that's going to happen because they clearly said we're done with flashbacks.
Yeah.
You know, that's the point. So at this point, I would expect no flashbacks since Chapter 5 did, solidify that. Now, as far as Mandalorian Season 3 is concerned, I believe we are going to see a major shift in Din Djarin's story, as we saw kind of last week with him basically being told, hey, if you want to become a Mandalorian again, you got to go to Mandalore and you got to get baptized by a freaking mythosaur, and we're not even sure if those are real. That's basically what they told him. And with that being the case, he's definitely not going to continue bounty hunting unless absolutely necessary. Now, I had to say that to get back to the Kira point, because that was what I'd been running with this whole series. I've been running with this. Okay, Boba's going to show up as a younger version, show off with Cad Bane, and that's going to be, this resolving thing from the Clone Wars unfinished episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen now, and if it does, oh my gosh, we're not prepared for it.
Sure, 100%.
But with Kira, if for some reason Kira does show up in the Book of Boba Fett, it serves a twofold purpose to the plot at this point. Okay. First one is, as you said, major cliffhanger, tying back to my prediction, to set up that greater conflict for the finale. Okay. And potentially future Star Wars projects. Okay. This one's wild, but think about this for just a second, what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Right. The second purpose of her showing up could potentially be, and when I came up with this, I was a little upset with myself. I hadn't figured it out earlier. To lay claim to the Darksaber, since she was Maul's right hand the last time we saw her on screen.
Ooh.
Think about that for a second. The last time we saw Kira on screen, Maul still was in possession of that Darksaber canonically and within the timeline. By the time we get to Rebels, where is Maul? He is just lost. He has no he has no control at that point. Okay. How that all went down is a story yet to be told, to my knowledge. But if Kira, for some reason, is as in charge of Crimson Dawn as we have been led to believe from these comics, since she was formerly Maul's apprentice, if you will,
Sure.
she's been trained in Terrascasi, and we've seen what she can do with the blade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's going to be pick it up and go to town, because Mando's had a hard time, and so did Paz Vizsla, and Sabine Wren for that matter. What I am saying is that she could potentially be the person to butt heads with in Mandalorian season 3, because we pretty much resolved Moff Gideon's story in chapter 5 of Book of Boba Fett. So that might be a wild theory, but
Yeah.
I was pretty proud of it when I came up with it.
I was with you up until the very end. I don't think we're done with Moff Gideon. I think the point of them saying that that the New Republic is going to take care of him, and then the armor was like, "Oh, we'll see," but very doubtfully. I feel like Moff Gideon will still probably be the main villain as far as the Mandalorian plotline goes. But I agree with you. The connections as far as Kira maybe with that Darksaber are there. I mean, I'm loving what I'm hearing because you know how I am, and everybody watching with us right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been mentioning Kira somehow every single week. I've been dying to see Emilia Clarke's character come back. This would be the opportunity to do it. So let's make it. Let's make it happen.
I still think if she comes in to this series, she needs to be on the back of a dewback, just to like get that Game of Thrones connection to something dragonish.
Sure.
I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be great. I've got a dewback right here, actually. My 1997 dewback action figure. Love this thing.
There you go.
It's also missing a leg. So if somebody has a right leg to a dewback from 97, let me know. But anyway, I still think that we're on to something with this character. I had to throw that in there because as soon as you said she's coming in, I was like, I'm ready. I've been ready to talk about this all day. You know, kind of kept it under wraps for myself so I could just tell you.
I mean, I appreciate that.
I love coming up with these last minute thoughts, and I think you do too, Caleb, because they make for some of our best conversations on this show. And I just want to see so many things happen. And oh my gosh, Ryan V's over here in the chat theorizing that he thinks Kira and the Armorer know each other. That would be interesting. I don't know how, but that would be interesting.
XDO12 says, I completely forgot about Kira. I don't know how you forgot about Kira with me talking about her all season.
Yeah, I know. I rewatched Solo the other day, and I kept thinking about how Kira could connect to anything while I was watching it. And I was like, man, there's a lot of avenues. And there really are a lot of avenues how she could come back. And Book of Boba Fett seems to be the best place to introduce that avenue. I know earlier in the chat, and I know earlier someone in the chat said something about bringing in like Ahsoka and Sabine Wren to set up the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, I think that was Tim.
Yes, it was. I think I've personally moved on from that hope in this series, even though I would have loved it in the beginning. But it's too heavy of a series at this point to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And XDO also says he reminded us of that rumor about a DH Harrison Ford. Look, would it work? Could it happen? Yeah, but you just said, Caleb, that they had to shrink the budget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't shrink your budget for Harrison Ford.
Facts. Big facts.
So that's the only reason I would say no.
Yeah. Well, we'll certainly see. We'll definitely see. But listen, those are mine and DJ's formal predictions there. We'll see if they come true. But before we end tonight, as always, we have some Discord submissions. And I'm sure there might be something in here that we didn't even bring up. And hello, Elemental Melon. Glad you're here. And Miss Sunflower earlier mentioned that she was eating, it was super early and she was eating breakfast while listening to us. So I don't know where you're listening, Miss Sunflower, but hey, we appreciate you starting your day listening to us knuckleheads. I mean, that's certainly something. Certainly something.
Listen to us end our day.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get to these Discord predictions. We got Haber Liner. I believe I said that correctly. Says, prediction. I think we only see a couple frames of Luke's legs, Grogu waving by, and Mando getting back into his ship, and that's it, if anything. Longtime Spotify listener, good stuff. Well, I appreciate that, first of all. Thank you for listening to Mando talk for I guess, a long time, however long.
And by the way, on that, leave us a review on Spotify.
Nice plug. But I agree. I think we've already kind of hit on that if we see Luke, it'll probably just be his legs or his black robes or something like that. I would certainly like to see Grogu kind of saying his little byes to R2 and just maybe waving, like you said here, Haberliner. I agree with everything that you say there. DJ, any thoughts on that first submission?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a good one, and I think they're onto something fantastic.
All right, sweet. Next up, we got Blue Harvest. My prediction is we don't see Mando in this episode. The focus for episode 6 will be the Boba gang and kicking off with the Pikes. Mando won't show up again until the finale, where his crazy new Darksaber skills help save the day. The equivalent Mando timeline, meeting Grogu and Luke, will make up episode 1 of season 3. And I believe that's something that you kind of shared, or you kind of theorized earlier, DJ. I kind of like that, and that's something that I've kind of gone back and forward with too. Like, part of me wants there to be a little time jump between chapter 5 and now this week's chapter 6, to where Din going to get Grogu is the season 3 story, or at least the beginning of season 3, maybe just first episode like Blue Harvest here mentions of season 3 of The Mandalorian, and then that way we just pick back we dive straight into the action with this week's of the Book of Boba Fett. I see that. I certainly see that, Blue Harvest. What are your thoughts, DJ?
That's what I want to see happen, because like I said earlier, if Din just walks in with Grogu, that's enough for me. But thinking about Mandalorian season 3, chapter 17 is what it'll be at that point. That could be where the idea of this makes me happy. Luke and Mando may train a little bit with that saber.
Ooh. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because why would Luke know anything about that saber's history? I mean, there's no reason for him to know any of that, canonically speaking. So, it would be interesting. And that, I think, would be a good buffer. Like I said earlier, totally agree with Blue Harvest on this one, and glad that was something he submitted for us to discuss. Yeah. And I'm glad we got to talk about it throughout the whole show. Absolutely. All right, our final Discord prediction here is from Rafa Madrigal. He says the following: I don't think that we will see more of Mando. Like I said before, the reunion will be on Mando Season 3. Maybe we'll see Boba planning how to defeat the Pikes. We have only 2 episodes ahead, so I think that Boba's army will be Boba, Carsantan, Fennec, the Gamorreans, the Cyberpunk Pikers, Mando, and Grogu. The episode could conclude with the 2 groups facing each other like a western of Clint Eastwood, ready for the fight on the Jabba's palace. I have spoken. I love that ending there, Rafa. Hey, that certainly makes me happy reading your prediction there. I do still feel like we're definitely getting Din Djarin in this episode, especially based off, and I know, Rafa, you sent this in before Star Wars sent that tweet out, but especially since Star Wars tweeted a picture of Grogu's wrapped up Beskar. I definitely think we're getting both of them in this episode tomorrow, but hey, that is certainly possible. Rafa, what are your thoughts there, DJ? He said all my thoughts. Okay. I mean, he said so many things that I was on brand with earlier in the day. The only reason the only thing I really wouldn't agree with is just the fact that Din Djarin won't show up tomorrow. There's just, he has to at this point, Yeah. I really didn't want him to show up again necessarily. I really didn't want him to show up at all in this series, if I'm being really honest. And I don't even think I said he was going to show up in our original predictions. I can't remember, but that was 6 weeks ago now. It's been like a busy forever. 6 weeks. Gosh, it doesn't for me. It feels like it flew by. Mando talk was the thing that kept me sane during the last few weeks of the pregnancy. So that's credit to our listeners and viewers too, because without you guys, I would have lost my mind. Yeah, with worry and everything else. But anyway, all that to say, yeah, but no. All right. Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate the 3 of you there that sent those Discord predictions in. And listen, anybody can get on those Discord predictions. We only got one more opportunity to do it. So listen, let's make next week's Discord predictions the biggest of them yet. Make sure you click that link in our description and join our Discord if you have not done so already. But there is one final thing that I wanted to address before we get out of here. And Miss Sunflower, you really caught my eye when you threw this in the chat. She said,
what if Han is off to see Luke to drop off little Ben to train with Grogu? And I'm assuming that that's Miss Sunflower saying, because there was that report of Harrison Ford being Han Solo. We could easily see Harrison Ford's Han Solo in the background with Luke while Din Djarin's picking up Grogu. That, Miss Sunflower, would be absolutely beautiful. It would... Oh, goodness. The emotions would be there. Everybody that's a longtime listener knows that Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character. If that happens, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through the day tomorrow after seeing the episode. I might just have to sit still, not move a muscle the rest of the day, and just immediately go live and discuss. I'm just kidding. I won't be able to do that, but I wish I'd be able to do that if that happens. DJ, what do you think about that?
I'm speechless.
I would be speechless if that happens.
I did not see that comment until you read it. So
well, there you go.
I don't know what to say right now because y'all, if Han Solo drops off baby Ben to train with Luke, I don't know what I'll do. My stomach is churning with joy right
Michelle
now.
says I'd lose my flipping mind.
I've already lost it. It's gone. It's out the door. The front door is right over here.
Yeah.
It's gone. I mean,
Oof.
I feel like I need to go on a really long drive to process this. And I'm not joking. Like this is the best. I took the hat off. I'm exposing my nappy dad hair that's not been cut in a few weeks because I was anticipating baby birth for so long.
Yeah.
Caleb, I can't talk anymore.
Okay.
Because this one has just ended my day.
Sure.
I can't say anything.
Yeah.
If that happens, I don't know what I'll do. I'll have to run laps to get the energy out. It'll take one lap if I'm being honest, but I can't even. I just can't. I can't even. I can't nod.
Miss Sunflower, you're almost making me want to, just because if that happens, if that's a possibility, I feel like I need to have a camera rolling on me tomorrow as I'm watching this episode for the first time. That way I can just share a reaction. Because if that happens, that would be some viewable content, folks. I would freak out. Absolutely freak out.
I can't. I feel like I've just been given the best news ever and don't know how to take it. I cannot be more speechless about this idea right now.
Okay. All right.
Because here's what I want to say, and then I'll give it to Caleb and I'll leave it at that.
All right.
If that happens, everybody who says in Filoni we trust, but also says screw Kathleen Kennedy, you're a joke. Okay. That's what that's going to say tomorrow. Okay. If that happens, that is going to be the massive knockout punch to that specific fan group.
But DJ, Filoni's writing the episode.
I don't care. You got to run these things by Kathy K.
Yeah, no,
and
you're
Michelle
right.
Rejron.
You're right. That's how the business works. It all goes through Kathy Kennedy at the end of the day.
And oh man, wow! If that happens, wow. Okay,
we'll see.
Y'all get ready for some spicy tweets tomorrow if that happens. Okay, it's gonna be all the spice.
All right. Well, listen,
not the drug kind.
If you want to see those tweets, follow DJ at Rebel Scum Texan on Twitter. Follow Mando Talk at Mando Talk. That's where I'll share my initial reactions to whatever we see tomorrow. I hope to see some great things. I hope to see Grogu. I hope to see Din Djarin. I hope to see the team formulate. And honestly, you guys are making me hope to see Han Solo all of a sudden. That's not something I expected to even discuss this evening, but Miss Sunflower and everyone else there in the chat that's just discussing this Han Solo thing, let's speak it into existence. But honestly, I'm still putting Kira showing up my top priority. I would still love to see that the most. But we'll see. We'll see, folks. I appreciate every single one of you that have stuck around with us and stayed with us throughout this stream. Probably our longest prediction stream to date as far as this season goes, only because we have so much to discuss. So we appreciate it, and I'm sure next week will be absolutely insane whenever we do our finale predictions. And before then, though, on Thursday at the same exact time at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we get to do our spoiler discussion of Chapter 6. We'll see if DJ can be there. You know, obviously he's new dad. He'll be here if he can. But if he's not able to be here physically, I'm sure he'll be able to send some thoughts to me.
If Han Solo shows up, I'll be here.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Then everybody needs to start rooting for Han to show up. That way DJ can for sure show up to Mando Talk. All right. Let's get out of here. Again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a blessed evening, and I hope you enjoy watching the Book of Boba Fett whenever you get that opportunity to do so. But make sure you do it before Thursday, because we hope to see you again. All right. Let's get out of here. And as always, we have spoken.